She called the cops. Then, in 7 minutes, she lost everything. Sounds like the kind of wild tale you'd hear on a YouTube video, right? But let me tell you, this one's real. I was just out on my homemade houseboat, floating on my own lake, minding my business. My property, my peace. It was one of those perfect mornings. The water lapping against the boat, the sun turning the lake into a sheet of diamonds. But in the distance, the calm was about to get shattered. There she came, Victoria Sterling, the president of our local HOA, storming toward me with the fury of a woman whose house was on fire. She was dressed head to toe in designer golf gear, her silver hair so perfectly styled it looked like a helmet. Behind her trailed a group of her HOA minions, one snapping pictures like she was working for TMZ, the other scribbling away on clipboards as if they were gathering evidence for a crime. I wasn't quite sure what I'd done to deserve this, but I had a feeling I was about to find out. "Turn off that camera," she screamed, her face turning redder by the second. "This floating piece of garbage is destroying our $1 million golf course view. Do you have any idea what you've done to our property values?" I didn't flinch. I smiled and kept the camera rolling. "Good morning to you, too, ma'am. I'm Jake. This is my private lake on my private property. Is there a problem?" You thought I had just spit in her coffee the way she grabbed her golf club and took a step closer. I honestly half expected her to swing it at me. "I am Victoria Sterling," she hissed, her voice dripping with venom. "I've been the president of the Pine Ridge Homeowners Association for 12 years. I've personally won 47 lawsuits against people like you. This eyesore," she gestured wildly at my floating house, "will be removed today, or I'll make your life a living hell." And then, no joke, she threw her golf club at me. It whizzed right past my head and splashed into the lake. My live stream chat exploded in a frenzy. "Assault on camera. Call 911. Karen level 9000. The viewers started flooding in, the number climbing as word spread that something wild was happening in Pine Ridge. But there was something strange I noticed as I scanned the crowd. There was a woman standing off to the side, holding a clipboard, looking incredibly uneasy. She was younger, Asian, and while Victoria raged on about community standards and property values, this woman, who I would later learn was Ashley Thompson, the HOA's accountant, looked directly at my camera and made a subtle shush gesture, finger to her lips, like she was trying to warn me. My chat caught on immediately, and the speculation started flying. Was she on my side? Did she want me to say something? Victoria, of course, didn't stop. She continued her tirade for another 5 minutes, threatening lawsuits, arrests, and even calling me some kind of environmental terrorist. But then she slipped up. "It doesn't matter what you think your rights are," she yelled, her voice growing more shrill. "In 6 months, when my expansion plan is complete, this area will be transformed into a proper development worthy of Pine Ridge standards." I couldn't help it. I stared at her, silent. She froze. Her face drained of color as she realized what she had just said. She spun on her heel, barking orders to her lackeys. "We're leaving?" But not before Ashley glanced back at me one more time, her face unreadable. It was a look I'll never forget. Within 48 hours, I was drowning in paperwork. My mailbox was stuffed with 17 violation notices from the Pine Ridge HOA, noise violations, visual pollution fines, fish habitat disruption on my own lake, and unauthorized use of water, each one threatening to fine me $3,000 a day. But nestled among the threats was an offer. They wanted to buy my lake and 5 acres for $300,000, a quarter of what it was worth at best. It was a classic attempt to lowball me, to find a way to force me out. So that night, I started digging. Turns out, there was a company called Lakeside Holdings, LLC, and they held some sort of first right of refusal on the marina property next to mine. The owner of the company, Frank Wilson, was an old fishing buddy of mine. Funny how all the pieces started falling into place. It didn't take long before I realized just how deep the manipulation went, and that's when I knew. This was a fight I was going to win. And when the dust settled, it wouldn't just be my little slice of paradise left standing. I hadn't heard from her in years. Then, out of nowhere, my phone lit up with 37 missed calls, followed by a video message from a block number. It was Victoria, sitting in an office, her voice cold as ice. "Jake Morrison has no idea who he's dealing with," she said. "Call Tommy. Bring his tools tonight. We're gonna..." The video cut off before she finished the sentence. My blood ran cold. I immediately called the cops and started backing up every single file I had. I barely slept a wink that night. The next day, a text arrived from a strange number, *Rosewood Cafe. "Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Come alone. We need to talk about Victoria. Asterisk." I didn't hesitate. Marcus Rivera, the lawyer I'd hired, had already coined Victoria as a HOA witch, and he had a wall in his office covered with stories of a reign of terror. When I showed him the video and the messages, he grinned. "She's rushing. That's not like her," he said. "Why is she in such a hurry?" Then, when he saw Ashley's name in the violation files, he smirked. "If she wants to meet secretly, you've hit the jackpot." The meeting with Ashley was tense. She was nervous, trembling almost, but she handed me a USB drive. The truth. Victoria had embezzled $2 million from the Marina Fund to cover her son Tommy's gambling debts. When Ashley had tried to expose her, Victoria had ruined her career, spread lies, and even had her son harass Ashley at a party. Ashley was terrified, but determined. She warned me that Victoria would burn everything down before she let anyone expose her. Back at Marcus's office, we combed through the evidence. Victoria's theft was clear. Shell companies, fake invoices, the works. But the biggest twist came when we found something else. A buyback clause in the contract. Frank Wilson, the owner of the marina, could force the sale of the property for $1.2 million any time before next year. And Frank, now old and living in a Florida nursing home, had been waiting for this moment. He offered to sell me the rights for $500,000, with Ashley volunteering her own savings to help and Marcus securing a bank loan. We were ready. The moment Victoria made her next move to publicly destroy me, calling the police and accusing me of environmental terrorism, we'd strike back. Tuesday morning, I was shaking with anticipation as I set my cameras, AirPods blasting calming music as I pretended to fish. Victoria arrived, flanked by an army of lawyers, board members, and developers. She immediately called the cops, accusing me of destroying the environment. Meanwhile, Marcus, Ashley, and Frank were in position, and the clock started ticking. 7 minutes. In that time, I wired the money to buy Frank's buyback rights, filed the documents, and became the legal owner of Pine Ridge Marina, Victoria's golden goose, the heart of her empire. I announced it live on my YouTube channel. "Hey YouTube, your boy just bought a marina." The words had barely left my lips before Victoria's jaw hit the floor. The representatives from Golden Dragon were speechless. When the cops arrived, I calmly informed them that Victoria was trespassing on my property and that she was fired. It felt cinematic. Victoria's phone tumbled into the lake. The crowd gasped, and Ashley stepped forward with the evidence of embezzlement. Victoria, however, didn't seem defeated. She laughed, but not in the normal way. It was wild, desperate laughter. "You think you've won?" she sneered. "The marina's already sold. Good luck, Jake." My heart dropped, but Marcus was already one step ahead. The so-called sale to Golden Dragon was a forgery, with digital timestamps to prove it. Ashley's secret documentation backed us up, and the trial that followed was legendary. Half my YouTube subscribers showed up to watch, the rest tuned in live. The evidence parade was brutal. Emails, shell companies, and testimony from victims. Victoria finally cracked under the pressure, confessing to everything in a meltdown for the ages. She was sentenced to 5 years for embezzlement and 3 for fraud, along with a massive restitution order. The HOA was forced to pay me for harassment, and each board member was personally fined. As a final jab, I couldn't resist. "Hey, Victoria, need a janitor?" The courtroom erupted in laughter as she was hauled away in cuffs, her mascara running like war paint. But just when I thought it was over, the real villain made an appearance. Golden Dragon's lawyer filed a federal lawsuit against me. My ranch got hit with mysterious old lien, and $3 million vanished from the marina's bank account. Victoria, it seemed, had disappeared without a trace. 6 months later, life was better than I could have ever imagined. The marina was thriving. Families and kids filled the docks. Ashley ran the show as CEO, and Marcus was by her side as her husband. Frank got to see his name honored at the new community center. My YouTube channel exploded. My loans were paid off. And as for Victoria, rumor had it she was cleaning toilets for minimum wage at Lake Freedom Marina. Frank, surprisingly, forgave her, but karma had the last word. One day, he turned to her, mop bucket in hand, and said, "Need some help?" As for me, I still live on my upgraded houseboat, documenting everything, still standing up to bullies. Because the best revenge is winning so big that your enemies have to watch. But in a final twist, security footage caught Victoria back in her janitor uniform, whispering on the phone, 6 months from now, round 2. My channel got hacked. The marina's building caught fire, and Victoria vanished the night before. So what do you think? Is karma real, or is this just the beginning of round 2? Tell me in the comments, who's the real villain here? And what would you do if you were in my shoes? Smash that like button if you want to hear the rest, because trust me, the story's far from over.